to the next level? Maybe discover a few Instagram story hacks that can boost your Instagram reach. Well, here's 4 Instagram story tips that you should be using. In this video, we're sharing Instagram story ideas we've created and Instagram story strategy we've practiced ourselves to help improve our engagement. We'll be answering how often we post Instagram stories and, of course, what you're here for. What are Instagram story tips that'll help reach and or engagement on Instagram for creators. So let's get into it today as we help you step your gram up on the latest episode of the Social Roundtable. Welcome everybody to this brand new episode that I am excited here to talk about because I think we're going to be sharing a lot of great value and insight in regards to IG stories. It is something that a lot of people utilize on the Instagram platform. It is one of the biggest surfaces used by 500 million people daily. And we're going to get into some of the stats, some of our best case uses of it, and more. And as always, this is the Social Roundtable. I am your host, Heston of Social Varsity, and I'm glad for you guys to be joining us today. As always, I have the incredible co host joining me. Megan, what's going on?
Hello, hello. How are we doing? I hope that
Doing
everyone
great.
is excited for today. As Heston said, our live topic is all about Instagram stories, and we are with one of the best, Daniel, the host of Instagram Stories podcast. He shares the best tips there and strategies that have been proven and from Adam Missouri himself. So we have got some incredible stuff here for you. And without further ado, if you want to take a moment, Daniel, to just introduce yourself, say hi, and we will get right into this chat.
Hi, I'm Daniel. Thank you so much for having me on the show. As was mentioned, I host the Instagram Stories podcast where I try to do social media news in about 8 minutes, 3 times per week. And I try to make you hear as little of my voice as possible and as much from people who work at the platforms. So I try to find interesting clips of people who work on the platforms talking about the features they're rolling out, insert them into the show. So it's not just me giving my opinion all the time, and you hear it straight from the experts. Really glad to be here. Thank you for including me.
So glad to have you join us today. You do have an incredible podcast, and I'm not just saying that because I happen to have been a guest on the podcast once before, but you really do. I love the way that you created and you crafted together as you just shared. You have other people speak on it as well, and as much as it's mostly Instagram, you do have a few features with some of those from YouTube and some of the other platforms. But we're going to be focusing today on our conversation all about Instagram. And it's funny that it's called the Instagram stories because that is the main topic of what we're discussing here today. We're just talking about what are the 4 Instagram strategies and tips that we're going to be suggesting to you guys so that you could help take your Instagram stories to the next level to increase reach and engagement. And I would be absolutely wrong if I did not also state that we are also joined by somebody you do not see on the screen, but her presence is always felt. She is in the live chat right now, our incredible moderator, IG Live with Angela or Angela Vasquez, as you can see in the live chat. Thank you so much, Angela, for holding down the fort in the live chat. With you guys that are joining us live, we thank you so much for that. We are glad that you are here joining us live. And if you are catching the replay, we appreciate your support as always. Always remember to hit the like button on this video because we know you're going to get a lot of value and we know we want others to find it as well. And if you're not subscribed just yet to our channels, hit that subscribe button as we get into our latest conversation today all about Instagram stories. Are you guys ready to talk about this? Because this is a feature I've been waiting to talk about for a little bit.
Oh, heck yes, I am ready.
All right. Well, I want to ask this question to Daniel first, our guest. I want to kind of go over before I get into this question. I'm going to share some stats that I've picked up over the weekend. I am on YouTube, as you can see right now on this channel, and one of the things I use frequently, Daniel, is the post on YouTube, and I like to poll our audience, particularly to this topic. What I did was I polled the audience this question about how many IG stories do you post daily? Now, I got a great return on the results of this poll, and I was quite surprised. The results of this 84% said 1 to 3 stories that they post daily on Instagram, 12% said 4 to 6, and only 4% said 7 or more IG stories, which, when you look at the numbers in that way, it's pretty much saying more people are posting less nowadays on Instagram stories, which is so funny because just a couple years ago, it was quite the opposite. Most people were posting 5 and more stories a day. So, With that being said, in regards to how the audience responded, I've been doing actually less posts myself lately. It's been one story a day daily. And that's been between my audience on my regular followers and Instagram subscribers. But I want to ask you, Daniel, how about you? As part of your own Instagram strategy, how often do you post Instagram stories? And is there a particular reason why?
Yeah, I post very rarely to stories. I think one of the key challenges with stories is that they're not for discoverability. People who don't follow you are probably never going to see your story. For me, I'd rather spend that time investing on reels, working on trial reels, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't, taking whatever reel I post and putting it on YouTube Shorts, TikTok, LinkedIn, everywhere else. To me, that's a much better use of my time personally. Now, I do think stories are valuable, but I think those are like salt. A little bit is good. Too much, what's the point? You're not going to like the food. Maybe if you don't like salt, use hot sauce, whatever. But the point is, a little bit is good. A lot, you're going to see that in the analytics. You're going to see where people tap on your story, they watch the first frame. Then maybe you get to the second frame and some dropped off. If you keep going, you see, ooh, not too many people watched all the way through the 3 or 5 or whatever stories that I posted. Why is that? Well, maybe they got bored. Maybe they just were moving on in content. So give the people what they want a little bit and make them work for the rest. That's how I view it.
I love that analogy with the salt. I just had to say that before you jumped in, Megan. How about, I wonder if you had anything to add to that, Megan, and any questions for the audience in regards to this poll?
Yeah, of course. So I totally agree that, they're not used for discoverability. I always find it interesting when I have like a spike of non-followers who view my story. More than likely, it's when you have a piece of content like a reel or a carousel that's going viral or reaching a lot of new people. They come to your page and kind of check it out before. So I would say it's important to have stories there. So when people do want to come and see how relevant you are. If you're showing up daily, it can be really helpful, but it really isn't necessary. It's not like the make it or break it. But there are people out there who really enjoy stories, myself included. I love stories. So I definitely agree that they're not necessarily used for discoverability, but they are used for depth. So connecting with your audience, building that trust, and really, personally, I think it's one of the places that I have the most fun. So that's also important to keep in mind when you're on social media, right? So making it a place we enjoy. Curious from everybody in the audience here, do you enjoy watching stories on Instagram? Let us know in the chat, yes or no.
I got to jump in and answer that question. But before I do, we got to pose that question to Daniel because I know Daniel
Yeah.
said you very rarely post to IG stories. But how about, do you find yourself in IG stories feed often, like just scrolling from left to right instead of up and down like normal people in the feed, perhaps we'll say?
Sometimes I've been spending way more time on TikTok lately. Personally, I just find it more engaging, but I think it is a really good way to kind of see on a Monday morning, what did your friends do this weekend that was fun? Sometimes you get that FOMO, right? That you missed a fun event, but you know what? You never know. So I've been spending more time on that. I do think stories used to be a lot more exciting for me personally when people actually had to post to it and they couldn't share a feed post to stories. I don't know if you see
Mhm.
this, but a lot of the stories that I see are just feed posts that someone came across that they thought was interesting and they wanted others to see it and they shared it to their story. And I'm not saying that's bad, but that doesn't really appeal to me personally. I'd much rather see you behind the scenes documenting, your workout at 6 a.m. You're taking a short video of you sweating profusely, and I go, man, I really need to get up and go to the gym. Then you shared an article, and I'm not saying that's bad, but just for me personally, I see a lot of people using it the way we used to use email forwards or something like that. And to me, that's just not as dynamically exciting. What I would like to see is a return to people doing behind the scenes, taking me on their day, bringing me on their journey, showing me how they do their meal prep or their, use video to tell that story. I think that's something a lot more powerful that I would like to see. And to Megan's point, that brings depth, right? People who come across you from a reel or a TikTok or whatever, now they see who is the person behind that piece of content that I saw and what are they doing to make that piece of content. That I think is incredibly engaging.
You kind of blew me away there with that aspect in regards to when you notice yourself really paying attention to IG stories and utilizing it on Mondays. I think that's really important, that insight that you just shared. I think a lot of people relate to that without even knowing, because I would want to say IG stories probably get most views the earlier the week. The earlier the week compared to the end of the week. I've noticed that, at least myself with my own content. But I have to 100% agree with you. And it's funny that you said that same message about working out, because just today, somebody here, I won't name the person, I'll just point, but somebody was posting an IG story, and I felt like I was falling behind, because she posted that she did 4 miles, and I was like, wow, like even I hit the gym, and I was like, I did not do 4 miles today. So I've actually felt a little inspired by that, and that was something motivating. And it goes to, as you just shared, Daniel, a little bit more behind the scenes of what the person did. And Megan did it in a really smart way, where she not only showed you what she did behind the scenes, or something that she loved in regards to fitness. It was actually a post about this very live session. So as much as we know what she did, she also was able to promote something that was upcoming, and I felt like that was the best of both worlds in regards to that. So kudos to you on that well done and executed IG story. That might feed
Good
into
job on the
something you might
workout
share
too.
later on.
Thank you, thank you. I
Yeah.
almost died, but all good. I'm here.
Yeah. I have to answer this question. I would say I definitely favor IG stories more than the feed. I'm in both, but kind of the same aspect of what Daniel's saying. I like to see a little bit more of the behind the scenes stuff. What are you up to? Where have you been traveling? Are you reading a book? What Netflix binge are you watching? I kind of like to see that from creators that I normally do see their content. And I'm like, okay, on the feed, this is the polished stuff, but an IG story, this is the nitty gritty stuff behind the scenes that what led to maybe the polished stuff. And I think I like it
Mm.
from that point of view.
Yeah,
How about
definitely.
you,
Good
Megan?
points. I agree. I enjoy more of that behind the scenes. I do enjoy stories that are like asking for engagement. So using engagement stickers and kind of just getting to know that creator a little bit better about kind of the random stuff in their life, not always business. So I think they're a great way, like I said, to connect and just have fun. I love watching them.
Awesome. How let me just look at the live audience. A lot of people are jumping in. I also like the Holy Spirit guide me what to post. That's from Laura Brooks. Um, and she says yes, because I use stories all the time. So did our moderator Angela. Yes, I like viewing stories. I think that's just something that most people like to do naturally, because, as I always say, we are human beings. We are nosy by nature, and that is a great way to look at our, you know, whether it's competitors, our peers, our collaborators, and get a taste of what are they up to. As Daniel said, see what that person's been up to in the past weekend. Maybe what they got upcoming, as Megan shared about this very live session. So I like to say that that's a really interesting look at IG stories from that point of view, seeing what people are up to, getting a taste of the details instead of just to polish what they want to present on the feed in a reel or a carousel. Not to say that those are bad. There's a time and place to me for both.
Hmm.
Awesome. Did you see anything else in the chat, Megan, in regards to your question? I'm not sure if I missed anything.
I have not, but again, my chat on your stream is a little bit
Oh
slow, so I'm
no,
not
it's
sure. It's
frozen.
like skipping
Okay.
notes, yeah. But hey, I'll
Well, for
refresh it.
those Well, for those that are joining in the live chat, please feel free to jump in and answer any of these questions we are sharing with you guys. And if you catch in the replay, obviously go in and jump in the comments. We will be responding to those no matter when you comment to any one of these questions. For those that are watching, if you have any interest to join us on our IG or our YouTube channel, you can find our links in the description below for all of us on the screen, as well as our moderator, Angela. So if you're interested to join our respective communities on Instagram and YouTube, go ahead and check out the link in the description. And please make sure, once again, to hit the like button, because we want more people to see this type of good content. You're about to find out how good it is with all the value we're about to share in this next question. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button to join our community, so you won't miss any future episodes every Monday at 12 p.m. on the Social Roundtable. We're going to jump into our next question, Daniel, and I'm going to pose this one to you first. This is the big question that I know most people are asking for. Kind of as I stated earlier, it's estimated that about 500 million people use Instagram stories. They engage with it daily. And when I mean engage with it, they're commenting, they're interacting with the polls and the emoji stickers, they're tapping the link sticker. And more than 70% of Instagram users watch IG stories daily. So those are the ones that aren't even interacting. 70% of Instagram users, mind you, Instagram has over 2 billion users. That's a lot of eyeballs on IG stories. And I'm positive you want to make sure that you get even more eyeballs on your content. Now, although as Daniel stated, you're not going to get new followers, particularly from IG stories. You will be able to get more of your current followers to view it if you do certain things. So let's get into some of these smart strategies that you can utilize to actually increase your reach and engagement. With all that said, Daniel, I'm going to ask you, what Instagram story tips can you share that'll help reach and or engagement on Instagram stories for creators?
I mean, I think it's a combination of things. The first thing is do something cool. Show me something that I'm not going to see otherwise, something that makes me think this person is either very creative, very smart, very unique, doing something I've always wanted to do. Really take the time to go and do something or make something or create something that people want to watch and they're super engaged in. Having an interesting story is step one. If you don't have an interesting story, like don't bother with all these other tricks. Now, having said that, I think story caption stickers are the story caption sticker is going to be the next best thing to do because it doesn't really take you any time. It automatically generates the captions on the post, on the story for you. And people, if they don't have their headphones in, they're on the train, their spouse is sleeping next to them, whatever, they can still watch your story and engage with it and get a good idea of what you're doing. So I think that's going to be a part two of it. If I can add one bonus creative one, I think using the add your sticker is completely underrated. The add your sticker is a chance for people to join in the conversation, right? So something common like outfit of the day, okay, whatever clothing you took a picture of that you're proud of, add it to the add your sticker. But I think it gets really powerful if you can make your own add your sticker that catches on. And it doesn't matter what it is, right? It could be show me a picture of your puppy or show me a picture of the last great dessert you had. I mean, it could be just one that people have used before, and that's fine. But if you take it, put your own spin on it, your own twist on it, and it catches on and people use it, now more people are going to come and see your profile. More people are going to know who you are because you started that story sticker. And if it catches on, you're going to be golden. So I would say those are the top of mind things that I would really think about. Create really interesting content, make a really valuable story. Second, use the story caption sticker. And third, the add your sticker.
I love that first part. You got to have good content. If you don't have good content, you don't have a good story. And it's easy sometimes for us to look at, your daily life and you say, well, I do the same thing all the time. It's going to be boring. But people don't realize that sometimes there is opportunity in the mundane. What's boring to you might be
That's true.
completely interesting to somebody else
Yeah.
that's never
Yeah. You're
experienced it.
absolutely right.
So don't look at that aspect of your life as boring. Look at it as what's an opportunity of how I can display this in an interesting way. It might be boring to you, but it might be incredibly exciting for those that have never experienced whatever it may be. I'm thinking of it just like looking at working at a 9 to 5 where you go to the cubicle. I've seen people. This is one guy, I forgot his name, and he goes to work and he created an entire following. I think he's well into hundreds of millions of followers. Well, it's probably not hundreds of millions, but he has a few million followers, and it's just stuff that he does at his cubicle, and it's all about work. And it's like it's just an interesting way to look at how he views work. He sometimes interacts or imagines somebody else as a coworker, and you can just take content like that and apply it into IG story if you want, and really display something very interesting. I love the way that you brought that one up with the stickers too. Anything that you wanted to add to that, Megan?
I definitely agree with that. And what you said, Heston, too, about, the mundane stuff, making it interesting. I would say one of my biggest tips is to talk with your audience instead of at them. So if you're doing a mundane thing, like I share my food a lot, kind of like that's when I'm taking a break from work or whatever, or maybe it's like first thing I'm getting on, it's my breakfast, but it's like me in the picture still. Um, and instead of just saying, "Yay, it's time to eat," like I will add something like, "Do you like this? Yes or no?" with a poll, or "What did you have today?" And you could do that with like a slider tool and like adding different fun emojis or like, "What's your favorite breakfast?" Or using the add yours sticker or the Q&A, like doing something to invite people in, because yes, your stories are about you, and yes, they are there to watch that behind the scenes, but ultimately they still care about themselves. So making sure that your stories are bringing people in to a conversation, and not only is that going to help them just enjoy it more, but it's going to help people come back and spike up that engagement, push your little story circle to the front of other people's algorithm, so you'll be seen by even more of your followers. So definitely making this a conversation with, not just at, your audience. And um, what Daniel said about adding closed captions, like definitely 110%. That's like my biggest pet peeve, because even if I'm alone, I don't like to listen to a sound. I don't know why. Like I'd just rather read it. I don't know why. So I definitely agree with that. And I also would add a piece of text written on that story that's kind of like a hook that you would add to a reel. Something to get people to be like, whoa, I care about this. Because just a talking head, even if it has closed captions, sometimes we just scroll on by. So those are my two big tips for sure.
Awesome, awesome. You guys, we're giving extra value because we said four, and I think you guys already got like five tips already. So I hope you guys got your notepads or replay this video, send it to your friends because you guys are getting a lot of great tips in regards to our conversation here today on IG Stories. Once again, for those that are brand new, I see a few people had just joined into the live. If you are brand new, welcome. This is the Social Roundtable. Myself and Megan host this every week on Mondays at 12 p.m. And today we are joined by Daniel Hill, talk about IG Stories. We're sharing a few tips and strategies that can help you increase your reach and engagement here on IG Stories, and we are sharing some of our own experiences and strategies that we've utilized. You may have missed a couple of Daniels, may have missed a couple of Megans. Feel free to hit the replay. Hopefully, you stay tuned because I have one or two that I want to share. Something that Daniel kind of tapped on, but I'm going to share another one. Since we're giving us so much bonuses, I could share more than one, right? Is that okay?
It's your show. I mean, I'm just here as a guest.
Share them all, share them all.
Well, let me share one that Daniel kind of tapped on in regards to the uh, the less is more type of aspect in regards to IG stories, because you were stating that back in the day, kind of you would prefer to see more of one particular type of content, was more like behind the scenes type of information that they were sharing on IG stories. Well, I've noticed through my own testing that less is more in regards to Instagram stories, where you share one, maybe two IG stories a day instead of five, seven, nine. Even Daniel stated he shares. It seems like you might even skip a few days. Am I right, Daniel?
Yeah, yeah. I don't consistently post on stories at all. Yeah.
All right. And some people might look at that as, oh, well, maybe you should be always posting daily, but that's your decision to do that. But I've actually found that there's a little bit of reward from the algorithm when you do put in time in between. There's that trick we talk about where you skip 24 hours, and then when you post another IG story, when you come back, that one generally gets a little bit more favoritism from the algorithm. It boosted a little bit more to those followers that might not have seen it prior, but it's still all under the idea of less is more. Because when I post one IG story, just for example, I've been testing this on one of my on my practice IG story IG accounts, and on average, when I just post a regular IG story, sometimes it has a text on it, maybe not. It might get like, let's just say about 400 views. But as soon as I start posting more, and even on my main account, it drops by like 50%. And then with each IG story I post after that, it just decreases more and more. So I've noticed that less is more. So I'm not going to tell you that you have to post one, but I would just say strongly consider when you absolutely need to post more and utilize those times to make it optimized for what you're trying to do. Usually, if there's a sale or a particular story you're trying to tell over a few story images, but if you're just checking in and you do want to post something daily or every now and again, I think just one story a day is pretty much good for me. That's what I've been practicing. I don't know if you guys been actually, but when I asked that question earlier, I don't think I got an answer from Megan. How many stories do you post pretty much daily?
I mean, it varies, but it's usually at least one, like 6 days a week, really definite 5 days a week, so weekdays. Um,
Okay.
and then if I've got something going on, or if I'm just feeling a little energized that day and like lots of things are exciting to me for some reason, I'll post multiple, and I really don't do more than, I'd say, five. But there's obviously these rare occasions. Maybe I have a longer thing to talk about. But if you are doing something like that where you are, maybe sharing a longer story or like a Q&A sticker sometimes, if I do Q&As every Friday, I do
Yeah.
that for my audience. And if I get like five questions, I'm not going to not share my answers just because, I did my story limit. So if that's, connecting with my audience more, I'll do more. But definitely one a day, at least during the weekdays.
All right. Well, yeah, but it seemed to me and Megan more do similar, whereas daily. I do like either 5 or 6 as well. And Daniel does maybe every other day, perhaps. But there's not to say that there's a right or wrong way. It kind of goes with what you're capable of doing and some of these other strategies that we are sharing that would help you get your optimized output from getting increased reach and engagement from your followers. One more I want to act, and this one's particularly in regards to engagement. I don't care what anybody says, likes, shares, saves, whether it's on a feed post or IG stories. To me, the king is comments on both. Like I know when it comes to feed posts, they say shares is king, and there's a big debate about that. I would say maybe comments because still is a big argue. You could argue comments perhaps, but when it comes to IG stories, there's no debate. You How many people are sharing IG stories? I mean, seriously, I only share my own IG stories. I'm not sharing other people's IG stories. You
Well,
know,
I think that's a
um,
frustrating experience of sharing a story because I've often found a story. I said, "Oh, this is interesting," and I shared it with the person, and the account is private, and they don't follow them. Or by the time the
yes,
person watches it, it's been 24 hours, and the story is gone. So I think by nature, stories are kind of hard to share. Although I have definitely shared one or two in my in my time on the platform.
yeah, yeah, and I've done it too from an experimentation point. I might share one story from one account that I own to another. I might tag myself and do it that slick way, but nobody's really, for the most part, sharing stories. Nobody's either, and nobody. I don't think you can save a story. I'm not sure if that's even possible.
Save
And then
someone
there's
else's
likes.
story.
Yeah, is that
You
possible? You can
could
save somebody else's.
definitely screenshot. That's always going to be an
Well,
option.
yeah.
I use a website that I'm not sure if I'm allowed to plug things like that, but I use a website that allows you to
Go right
download
ahead.
people's Instagram stories, and you can also watch them anonymously, which is a fun little thing. If you ever wanted to do that, maybe there's somebody in
Yes.
your life that you don't want them to know you're watching your story. It's called save-free.com. I mean, what you decide to do with that information, that's on you. If Justin says it's okay, I'll put it in the chat. If not, that's fine.
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead if you want to go ahead and put that in the chat. And that's one of the ways that I'm sure that you've been able to get like some of Moseri's IG story when
Exactly.
he
Yeah.
does the Q&A, which is great. But
Yeah,
and then
somebody
there's the
asked in the
like.
chat how to share a story, and just real quick, if I could say, there's a little arrow icon in the bottom right hand corner, and that's what allows you to share the story. The person might have story sharing turned off, in which case you can't
Yes.
do it, but that would be how to do it.
Yes. But it's generally we don't, for the most part. I don't know the last time I've seen somebody else other than myself share an IG story. Um But and then there's the likes. There's the like engagement, which I don't even feel like enough people do likes on IG stories. You get a few handful, but for the most part, some of the story stickers that you've mentioned, poll, emojis, questions, and stuff like that, most people will interact with those. But comments, if you could get people to comment on your IG story, that is rocket fuel for increased reach. And I say that as somebody that specializes in DM automation. I've seen the power of trying to use DM automation, tied it with IG stories, and it's all based back on comments. If you get somebody to comment on an IG story, you're, I would say almost if you could get just two people to comment on an IG story, you might just double your reach with just with two people to comment. It's crazy how effective it is. And what I've done is, I know there's a question sticker where if you put the question sticker, they could click on that and then answer. I've actually been not using that. I'll ask the question and then point to the comment bubble at the bottom to tell people, hey, I want your answers as a comment. And when they do, we might interact in the DMs because those comments are sent as DMs. But now it gets sent to even more people. Even this very live that we've done, I put an IG story where if you comment a keyword, they get a DM automation with the link to this YouTube. But when they do that and they continuously do that action, more and more people end up seeing that one IG story much more than my average. So if you're capable of telling people, hey, go ahead and comment this keyword or comment an answer to a question, I think that's going to really help out your engagement and reach.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I know just what we've kind of tested, Heston, um, when we are promoting this live, like on my story, when I was just doing the promotion normally and adding the link compared to the promotion with asking for a keyword, I get triple the views when I do the keyword. And sometimes it's not even when, like, maybe nobody used the keyword. That happens every so often, right? And it still does better. And I think it's because if you add that engagement sticker and nobody does anything, then Instagram's like, this really isn't interesting. But if
Yeah.
they don't reply, then you're not necessarily, like, you're not being hurt for that.
Yeah, that's a slick way to look at it. Very slick way to look at it. So there you have it, guys. I think we definitely give you guys more. We told you the title of this is here's 4 Instagram story tips. We did a lot more than 4. So please, I hope that you guys take a lot of those Instagram strategy tips, the techniques, the strategies that we have been utilizing ourselves to see a great positive outcome in regards to engagement and reach. Take everything that you've learned here today. And as I always say, step your gram up in the best way possible moving forward with this information that we are sharing with you. We're going to move over to our trivia game that we have. I shouldn't say trivia because there's no right or wrong answer, but Megan is going to host a couple of questions for myself and Daniel to answer. And of course, for those of you guys watching, you can answer as well. If you're watching live, go ahead and put it in the live chat. We'll be watching to see who shares their opinion on these questions. And if you're catching the replay, you can jump into the comments as well. With that being said, Megan, you can go ahead and lead us into this game.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much. So today we're playing One's Gotta Go. So I'm going to give you 3 like items and then go around the room here. Choose, if you had to choose one to go, what would it be? And everybody in the comments, whether you're live or the replay, we'd love that as well. So first one here. One's Gotta Go. A, ChatGPT. B, Canva. C, Google Drive. Daniel, what's your answer?
That's a wow. I was not expecting it. Google Drive's gonna go for me. I feel like there's so many alternatives. I mean, Dropbox was the old school, but Mega is great. I mean, there's so many out there. Even OneDrive gives you a good amount of storage for free. So I'm gonna say, sorry, Google Drive. Maybe next time.
Love it. Good process of elimination there. Heston, what would you say?
Well, it definitely won't be Google Drive because I use that every day. So I got to keep that one. Honestly, I think it might be Canva. I don't use Canva as much as I am trying to prepare to shift over to it. It is not currently in my workflow, my personal workflow, maybe with clients, but in my personal workflow. And I've been actually using ChatGPT a little bit more than usual lately. I'm really trying to learn being a prompt master, and yeah, so I got to choose Canva. Sorry, Canva, and those that love Canva.
Yes, yes, I have to say Canva too. And I mean, I love Canva, but there's other alternatives. And like I've been using Adobe more, but Canva has a lot of great things too. And Google Drive, never. It's my life. It's my life. It's already organized and set up. So yeah. Heston, do you see any of the chats? Let me know.
Yeah, Sierra DeLong said Canva. Um, I Laura, I don't know, but what is IF? Was one of them IF
No, she
or
was
is she
saying
said if?
she would share the stories that her friends post if they wanted her to.
Oh,
Um,
okay, gotcha. I missed that part of the conversation. Oh, but Sierra did add she uses Google Gemini way more than ChatGPT, so that could actually be an option. Like, with many of these, there are always alternatives, whether it's with Google Drive, ChatGPT, or even Canva. There's many alternatives, so that's a good thing. But those are the big boys in the industry right now, so I understand. That was a hard question.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. You're right. I actually used Gemini for like the first time in a few months the other day when ChatGPT was down, and I was impressed. So yeah, might be using it more. Second question here. One's gotta go. A, the story poll sticker. B, the story Q&A sticker. Or C, the story draw tool. Daniel, what would you say?
Oh, wow, that is a great. I'm gonna instinctively say the poll sticker because I don't use that one as frequently as I use some of the other ones. I think the quiz sticker is much more valuable in my opinion, because then people learn from it. But that's what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say the poll sticker. I'm done. I'll shut up.
You can never say too much. No. Awesome. And Heston, what would you say?
I'm gonna go to the question
Kind of.
sticker based on what I just said earlier. I'm gonna try to get them to comment their answers on it. So I'll just say that.
See, with that, when I was reading, I was like, oh, I should have changed it, but I, wasn't thinking like that.
Can I say something about the question sticker though that I think is kind of underrated is when you go live, if you've gone live within 24 hours of using the question sticker, you
Yes.
can share the answers that people put in that on the, or sorry, am I saying it right? Is it?
Yeah.
You can
Yeah.
share what
You're
people
saying
put
it.
on there in the live. And I think that's an underrated feature. We don't really go live as much anymore. I mean, during the pandemic, going live was like everything, but I do think that's one understated kind of thing as part of the question sticker that I do like.
Mm.
I 1,000% agree with you. I wish more people. I don't think a lot of people know that. To tell you the truth, I
Yeah,
don't think a lot of
it's
people
not a
know that.
feature
And
that's talked about very often. I definitely agree with you.
yeah,
Yeah, that's true. I think I would have to say it's hard, but the question sticker. I love the draw so much, and I love the poll. So, yeah, that's a hard one for sure. And then I do see the chat now. I see Laura says C. So use the other one. So that's I love the draw tool. It's like so fun. I think a lot of people forget about it too because it's not like in the normal sticker spot.
yeah. Well, first of all, you try to trick us because you gave a sticker, then sticker, and then you said tool. So I was expecting the third one
True.
to be a sticker, and I was like, okay. But you
My
went with
bad.
that, and I was like, oh, that was a good one. Good. You caught us good. But
Yay.
yeah,
I
I
try.
use it a little bit now. It's I've seen a lot of people use it very creatively. I mean, I don't have enough time to sit there and do what they do for IG story, but they've used it very creatively.
Yes, for sure.
Awesome. Well, yeah, I see that Laura said C. Yeah, we got some good answers in regards to these were some good questions, Megan. I like those questions.
Okay, thank
Try
you.
to fool us. All right, so I just posted into the live chat if there's any questions that anybody would like to ask for the Q&A. I'll give you guys a moment. If you have any questions, go ahead now and post it into the live chat. If you're watching the replay, please go ahead and post your questions in the comments and we will answer that as well. I'm going to give Daniel a moment now to kind of share where you can find him, what he's up to. This is the moment where you can plug away, Daniel, with anything you got upcoming. So please feel free.
Sure. So I post 3 times a week the Instagram Stories podcast. You can find that on your smart speaker if you use one of those, or Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Pocket Casts, Overcast, all the podcasting places. You can look for it there. I cover Instagram news, TikTok, YouTube, edits, and threads. Those are all the platforms that my brain can handle at one time. I am in the midst of launching an email newsletter recapping the social media news that I covered on the show over the past week. I'm actually sending out the first email newsletter today. So if you would like to join that, you can find me at Daniel Hill Media, and I will send you the link, or you can go to the show notes for many of the recent podcast episodes that I've made. So that is what I'm working on. Follow me at Daniel Hill Media.
Nice. And like I said earlier, all of the links are in the description. So if you're looking to find Daniel Hill, including, I believe it was a URL that you have that goes to all of your podcast. I have that also in the description. So
Oh,
if you guys are
thank you.
looking to find
Thanks
Daniel
for
with his
including that.
podcast, his Instagram and YouTube, go ahead in the link, as well as my information and Megan's and Angela's also. So go ahead in the link and join our respective communities. Hit this like button on this video once again for more people to find it. We want to make sure that algorithm is treating us right, and hit the subscribe button so you won't miss any other future episodes. We did get one episode. It's from Mr. Daniel Hill himself in the live chat. But the question that I see from Daniel, and that's an interesting question, Daniel. You asked, have you ever posted stories to WhatsApp or TikTok? Um, I'm gonna I'm gonna go real quick, and just say I haven't posted to either. I not I'm not active on WhatsApp, and I'm probably less active on TikTok. But if I had to choose one, it would be TikTok. I think the type of video that we even stated during this conversation that works well on stories, I think that's something that would work really well on TikTok. So if I had to choose one, it would be that. How about you, Megan?
I've done stories on TikTok before, but even when I was testing them, I found it difficult to kind of stay consistent. And then I also know as a user, I don't really view them there. So yeah, I've never done on WhatsApp. Daniel, what about yourself?
So I want to say that I asked this question because of my friends who pretend they are too good to be on social media. They spend as so much time watching WhatsApp stories that it is borderline concerning. The second you post a WhatsApp story, your friends who say, I don't need to be on social media, I don't waste my time on that, will watch that story. So
Really?
definitely experiment. WhatsApp stories work if the person has your phone number saved in their phone and you have their phone number saved in your phone. Those are the people who can view your WhatsApp stories. It's not like they have a public following one, but the status
Mhm.
update stories. So I definitely recommend if a story does really well on Instagram, post it on WhatsApp and watch how fast your friends who are say they're not addicted to social media will watch it. And then second, TikTok is really pushing stories right now, and I've even seen in the feed where it's suggesting me to watch people's stories that I follow. So that's why I was curious. I personally haven't been spending a lot of time on there, but just wanted to hear overall, from your side of the table, if you'd use them at all. So thank you for answering my question.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, that's an interesting one. But I'll have to check into that WhatsApp one. I definitely got to look into that. I don't see any other questions from the live chat, so I think we're going to pretty much call it a day here. We're about 15 minutes to the top of the hour. We had a great conversation about IG stories, and I think we shared a lot more than the promised 4 tips. So you guys got a lot of extra bonuses content from us. We hope that you guys appreciate it. Put it out there, test it out, see if it works. Please feel free to slide into our DMs and say, hey, this actually worked. Or if you had any questions, please feel free to ask us. Once again, our links and connections you can find in the description of this YouTube video. Join us once again in the next episode. Um, Shout out to Angela, our moderator. You don't see her, but she is always working hard. She is the live chat ninja, going hard in the chat room. Thank you so much, Angela. Definitely appreciate your help there. Megan, this is your opportunity as well to share what you're up to and where the people can find you.
Awesome. Yeah, well, you guys can find me on Instagram, Threads, YouTube, and my newsletter every Monday, as well as my podcast, Happy Creating, is launching in 2 weeks. So that will be available. If you follow me on Instagram or you're on my newsletter, you will get that notification there. So I'm very excited about that.
Awesome. And congratulations again on the new podcast that is coming out. Looking forward to hearing that. For myself, you can find me kind of the same on Instagram and Threads by social.varsity. Find me here on this YouTube channel every week. We are going live on this Monday, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with the Social Roundtable. I might be adding a few more type of videos to the library. Stay tuned and look out for that. And right now, I am offering, if you are interested to learn a little bit more about ManyChat and DM automation, I have actually launched my brand new IG subscription. You can find right now on my profile for just 99 cents per month. That is a limited time offer. It will be increasing pretty soon. So make sure you join in and get on to that. Go to my profile, social.varsity, and tap the subscribe button to learn more. Other than that, I think we are out. Thank you so much, Daniel, for joining us. It was definitely a pleasure to have you join us on the Social Roundtable. We got to do it again. Until next time, guys, take care and have a good one.
Bye.
Bye, guys. We need an outro like Daniel. Daniel got a crazy outro for his podcast. We're gonna need something like that.